There's a lot of guys whose ego, and when we're younger, I think it's a little bigger, and as we get older, our ego kind of goes away, hopefully. So a lot of guys with that ego, they think that they are the only one influencing their design work, and I think that's a terrible shame.
I derive inspiration from anything. I very purposely try not to look at knives though, because I find if I look at knives, they end up looking like other people's knives, and I don't want to design a knife that looks like somebody else's. I'm doing my best to make something original, make something that is me in a knife, not somebody else's work.
The problem with saying I'm going to sit down and design a 3.5-inch utility folder is this kind of, your human mind just kind of starts thinking of every 3.5-inch utility folder you've ever seen in your life. So there's no wonder why when you get done designing it, it's going to have some similarity to something you've already seen. But if you think in theme, you're not going to have that.
My basic inspiration for a knife is gear, especially motorcycles. I don't drive a motorcycle myself, but I think motorcycles got that tactical look. Even classic motorcycles can have a tactical look you can get inspired from.
I'm a motorcycle guy, and I recently was looking at brake rotors on a Ducati motorcycle, and I thought, that's interesting. I love this world of motorcycles, so I took the brake rotor and milled parts out of it and machined those parts to be the body parts of a folding knife, and then painted the Italian flag on them with some powder coat elastomer, and put great high quality blade steels in there and finished them up. So that was unique, and it came from simply looking at a brake rotor.
Lately I've been looking at watches a lot. I've been studying a lot of the great watchmakers from all the way from the 17th century to now, and studying where they get inspiration from, some of their mechanics, and I've just been enjoying that a lot lately. But I also, my wife can attest to it, and you can look at my cell phone and just look at the photographs. As I'm walking around, sometimes I'll just see something in a building or even a plant and a texture, and I'll just take some photos of it, and that'll end up being a texture or finish in a knife later at some point. So I pretty much take inspiration from anywhere I can find it, and do my best to just pay attention to what's going on around me.
Just tell yourself a lie. You think of an application. I like to think of movie themes. I've used the same movie theme often, but let's just say 20th Century Fox contacted you about designing a knife for the first manned space shuttle to Mars. The year's 2050 go. The cool thing is now you're thinking about, you're designing a knife for space shuttle, that's going to be used on the first manned space shuttle to Mars. So you don't have all these preconceived notions of what a 3.5-inch utility folder needs to look like. You can be completely original on what you do. So starting with any kind of theme like that is a good way to come up with original ideas when it comes to design.
But sometimes when I get an order, like KnifeCenter is ordering something special, then we decide the name first, and then I actually design the knife after the name. Sometimes that could be easier to work that way. It depends on what kind of knife it is, I would say.
I'm a veteran, and I've known some other great veterans and know some great veterans, and they come to us with ideas. And when a genesis of an idea takes place, it's not the specifics that get decided. It's the theory, the philosophy, the idea itself. That's the genesis. And then the subject matter expertise of the manufacturer, the knife maker, along with a metallurgist or a steel mill, or all of these things come together.
When it comes down to actually creating a knife, I almost never sit down to purposely design a knife. It's generally an idea that comes to me, and I'll have this idea, and I'll just, whether it's at 2 in the morning or I'm sitting at dinner with my wife, I'll pull out a notebook and just start sketching to try to get the idea onto paper before I forget about it. And then later I'll take that sketch and actually turn that into a completed design of some kind, and from that point I end up prototyping it in some way. Oftentimes that's in acrylic or cardboard even, just to get a feel for if it's even ergonomic or functional.
I've had many failures. I have a drawer of shame at home that has hundreds of knife parts in it that just didn't fit the bill, or just didn't turn out the way that they were supposed to look in my head.
Well, I've done that several times. I think the past 10 years, not that much, because of course you get better and better all the time. But yeah, I've done that a couple of times, especially with one-of-a-kind knives. You can really f it up. And then, I mean, if you're not 100% focused and concentrated, then it's so easy to do something that's, you know, change the blade profile or f up the lock, or, you know, and then, yeah, you got to throw it over your back and don't look at it again.
Any other thing I would do would be like having a job. In the knife industry, I get to do what I love to do. I get to dodge left when everybody else is going right. I get to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And I've been so blessed by the fact that so many people have loved my eccentricities that I've been successful at it. You know, I've got over 50 patents now. I mean, who can say that? What other industry could a guy get 50 patents in? I have a love of a lot of people around me. And every day I get up, grab a cup of coffee, go in the shop and dream a new dream. So I'm the luckiest guy in the world there.